Wait, before you start this video, I have a question for you. Do you think it's right for a parent to give a child everything, even making choices for them? Write your honest answer in the comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts. All right, let's dive into today's video.
Luca was a 6-year-old boy born into a family of wealthy politicians. His father ran as mayor in the state of Florida, while his mom was a diplomat. Ever since he was small, Luca was never allowed to do or touch anything, feed himself, or remove his shoes, not even to feel or think for himself. Like his parents will always say, "You're royalty, leave the thinking to us. All we need you to do is sit and be a good boy." And so he grew, living a life with ease and with no sense of how to care for himself. But life isn't a bed of roses. It has its way of teaching and training people, you know. One night, when Luca was 16, his world quietly shifted. His parents had just returned from a business trip, their flight landing without issue. But soon after they stepped into their car, a truck from the opposite direction struck them. The accident claimed their lives instantly. Without wasting time, the media carried out an outreach, and headlines of the accident immediately spread widely. The mayor and his wife were involved in a car accident. When the news got to Luca, this expression was unsettling. It can't be said if he was sad or happy. Perhaps he was not taught how to do that either. The maids, family members, when they saw the news, all showed emotionless faces and didn't even care to check on Luca, not even once. And so as the day goes by, seeing the family members are not interested in coming, they maids begin to plot. They knew fully well that the boy couldn't take over his father, as he knew nothing and was never taught to think only in joy. So they came in groups and arranged documents, each of them taking one property, and so what they did was, whenever they did something for him, they will jokingly ask him to sign the papers, and since he has not leave with a care in the world, he signed them blindly without reading. By the time he finally turned 17, which was the age his father wrote on his will to give him everything, he was already homeless, the workers after getting all the need threw him out. For a boy who had never worked a day in his life, he didn't know what to do. He couldn't provide for himself, and simply slept on the bench, hungry and hoping for his parents to come back. Maybe now he was beginning to learn how to feel. One day, while wandering the street, I think luck fell on the boy, 'cause he saw homeless beggars on the street begging, and he decided to join them. That marked the first time he had ever thought and made a decision. Also, the same night, he ate food which he hadn't eaten in days. That was the first life lesson. Life taught him to think. But life wasn't done. It was only getting started. Over the days that followed, the sun was hot. He experienced what the sun felt like with its scorching heat. But the life lesson didn't end there. He felt what it was like to be ignored. Most of the passers-by he begged from didn't pay him any heed. It was hard for him, being someone who had always had things handed to him with ease, but this time he was working for it. The struggle grew harder and harder. Sometimes he ate, and sometimes he went hungry. But like all trials of life, there are happy times. One afternoon, having begged the whole morning, he only got $1. He raised it up with disappointment when suddenly he heard a child cry. Turning, he saw a mother trying to calm her hungry child. Looking back, he decided to go to a nearby shop, but upon reaching there, he was met with another disappointment. The bread was $1.85, and he had only $1. Just as he was about to leave the store, a young woman in her mid-40s offered to pay the difference. With great joy, Luca thanked her and ran back to give the bread to the mother with the crying child, all while still hungry himself. He had learned yet another life lesson: kindness. While all this was going on, the woman who had helped the boy and who had allowed him to see kindness decided to walk over. She asked questions and got to know about the boy's story. Afterwards, she decided to help him, seeing that he had compassion. But something unexpected happened. When the woman asked Luca to go with her, he refused, saying he couldn't leave the people behind. She was impressed by his loyalty, but quickly realized he wouldn't agree to follow her unless she also helped the others. So, she arranged for them to be taken to a healthcare center where they could receive proper care. Only then did Luca agree to go with her. At the woman's mansion, life looked different to Luca. It was the kind of life he once knew, yet now it carried a new meaning. He realized that life was not a bed of roses. If he wanted to make something of himself, he had to work for it. So even in a home filled with workers, Luca chose to clean rooms, cook for himself, and do chores. He wanted to learn, not just depend. One evening, the woman, Miss Danielle, called him for a talk. She asked what he wanted to do in the future. Luca was silent. No one had ever taught him to think for himself, let alone to dream that far ahead. Danielle knew he needed time, and she was certain that school would help him figure it out. And so, the very next morning, she sent him back to high school. It was a new world for him, but with everything he had faced, Luca was ready. 2 years passed, and soon he was preparing to graduate. The day before his graduation, he called his adoptive mother, who was away on a business trip. For the first time, he told her his dream. He wanted to become a lawyer. She was proud, and on the day of the ceremony, she was there, standing beside him, cheering him on as he stepped into his new chapter. And this is where the lesson lies. Parents, take note. There is a difference between caring for your children and spoiling them. Do not mistake one for the other. Teach your children to do things for themselves. Allow them to think, to stumble, and to learn. Correct them with love, because if you don't, life will do it for you. And life's lessons are often the hardest to bear.